Greetings to everyone, and my sincere apologies to all of those who have told me that they grab a cup of coffee in the morning and they sit down and listen to one of my posts. Well, hopefully you listen to an older one, because this one's coming out a little bit late this morning. It was a little crazy around here, but hey, it's still morning, maybe brunch time by the time you get this, but grab yourself another cup of coffee, because we're going to look at one of the Psalms, Psalm 26. Now, before I read it, there's a lot of things we need to remember about the Bible, especially when we get into the Hebrew Scriptures, the Older Testament. Some of this stuff was written 2,500 to 3,000 years ago, or at least it was passed down by oral tradition that long. So there are things that seem kind of strange, that are hard to understand, that we really do scratch our heads about, trying to figure out what exactly is this person trying to say. So it takes a little bit of work, a little bit of effort, and there's not even 100% agreement on what's going on. And what we have today is a psalm that's one of those psalms. Most of the psalms we have classified, like they're for this, or for that, psalms of thanksgiving, psalms of ascent, laments, things like that. This one is a little trickier. I'm just going to read the first 8 verses of it. Vindicate me, O Lord, for I have walked in my integrity, and I have trusted in the Lord without wavering. Prove me, O Lord, and try me. Test my heart, test my mind. For your steadfast love is before my eyes, and I walk in faithfulness to you. I do not sit with the worthless, nor do I consort with hypocrites. I hate the company of evildoers. I will not sit with the wicked. I wash my hands in innocence and go around your altar, O Lord, singing aloud a song of thanksgiving and telling all your wondrous deeds. O Lord, I love the house in which you dwell and the place where your glory abides. Perfect timing, Mr. Rooster. Thank you so much. That was his commentary on that psalm. Yeah, it is a little confusing. When you first look at it and read it, you think, what kind of a pious, what is this guy? Look how great I am, oh God. Just full of self-righteousness. Vindicate me. I've been the good guy. I've walked with integrity. I've trusted in you, and I didn't even waver once. Not like, speaking of roosters, Peter, who in the New Testament... Perfect timing. Thank you, Mr. Rooster. I've been training him to do that. Peter in the New Testament denying Jesus 3 times around that little fire out in the courtyard. Yep. I don't sit with the worthless. Little judgmental, are we? Nor do I consort with hypocrites. Now you're really getting judgmental. I hate the company of evildoers and will not sit with the wicked. Now you've gone over the top. You see what I mean? It's kind of a difficult psalm. Why would a psalm like this end up in our scripture? Especially when it's in the Psalter, where all the psalms are located. This is a book, a collection that was used for their worship services. I mean, if any pastor or any worship leader nowadays would write up some sort of liturgy like this and say, okay, everybody repeat after me and read responsively line after line, we'd be kicked out of the church on our heads. You just don't do that sort of thing. We're supposed to be, gentle and humble and not so condemning of others. So, what's going on in this psalm? Well, it's easy to overlook one verse that comes quite early, and if you overlook that one verse, I think you miss the point. That verse is this: your steadfast love is before my eyes, and I walk in faithfulness to you. Your steadfast love. That's that word hesed that we have popping up throughout the Hebrew scriptures, Hesed, Hesed, if it's transliterated into the English, that unending, poured out love and grace that just overflows and never stops, and it just conquers all. You see, there's a reason why this person who wrote this psalm is saying this. My little headline is, it's a plea for justice and declaration of righteousness. Well, that is under consideration. It's also under dispute. There are many who now feel that this may have been a psalm that was written specifically for the priests to go into the temple. And it wasn't a matter of being self-righteous. It was a matter of recognizing who they are and what kind of attitude they need to have as they walked into the temple to do their ritualistic things for the people of God. I mean, they were considered that little doorway between God and the people. And so, it's going to be, as they're walking in to the place where they're going to be conducting their ceremonies, they're going to be saying to God, "Vindicate me, Lord. I have walked in integrity." They've examined themselves. They've confessed their sins. I have trusted in you without wavering. Go ahead, test me out. See if what I'm saying is really true. Take a good look at me. You know, the priest is to say this in a genuine way, with all honesty and purity. And why is it? It's because of verse 3. Your steadfast love is before my eyes. Your hesed, it surrounds me. It's with me all the time. And that's what I rely on. That's what I put my faith, my hope, and my trust in. And another little thing that we look at that says, oh, maybe this was for the priests. I wash my hands in innocence. Washing of hands. The priests, before they went into that area where they conducted their ceremonies, they had to wash their hands. The washing of hands that we see in Scripture is mostly relegated to the priestly class, the Levites. They are the ones that had to ritually purify themselves. Not that everyone else didn't do it too, but for the most part, it was the priests. So washing your hands in innocence as I go around the altar. Well, it was the priests who went around the altar, not the common people like you and me, just the priests. So, try to keep this psalm in context. It is a priest, most likely a priest, entering into the worship area, pleading before God, basically, to accept what he's about to do, accept his worship. And really, isn't that something we all should do? Especially when we go to church or we go to some other religious gathering type function. We come together and we're beckoning God to come into our lives and to strengthen us and to forgive us and lead and guide us, that sort of thing. But don't we need to do a little self-examination at the same time? That, I believe, is what's happening in this psalm. A difficult one to really wrap your head around at first, but when you look at it in that context, it begins to make a lot of sense. Well, let me tell you, this is one psalm amongst many that kind of give us the what kind of feeling when we first read it. But after you really dig deep into it, it makes a lot of sense. It does give something for you and for me to strive home with too. You and I taking a good look at our lives and recognizing, especially when you get down to the point, I don't sit with worthless, nor do I consort with hypocrites. No, it's not about being judgmental. It's about being discerning. What am I doing with my everyday life? Who am I with? Who am I associating with? And that word sit is a very important one. In the Hebrew, it means take up residence with. So it's not just sitting down having a cup of coffee and talking with a friend who, well, you know, we don't exactly get along with, and theologically we're not on the same level, and and maybe they're not even religious at all, and they say all kind of foul things about you and God, and what I mean. It's not that now all of a sudden that's the kind of associations I have all the time. No, because without us being friends with that person, just as Jesus would go on to do. Remember, that was what he was accused of doing, sitting with the wrong crowd, fellowshipping with them. No, it's discerning and being loving and being caring and not falling victim to the ways of the world. Just like the Apostle Paul in his lesson last week said, do not be conformed to the world, but be transformed. Very good psalm. It's a short one. It's 12 verses long. We just read the first 8, but the last 4 verses basically repeat what was already said. So, as you go about your day, enjoy it. Again, this just gets so boring, doesn't it? Blue skies, but hey, there is the forecast for rain as those tropical systems make their way up the Ohio Valley and hit us here in the Great Lakes area. Yep, we're in for some rain, and we need it. God's blessings be with you. Enjoy your day, and remember, discern, but don't be judgmental. If you're going to be judgmental, let it be of yourself and your own heart. And trust in God's hesed, his loving kindness. Blessings be with you.